What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's start with some March Madness. This is going to be a quick show today. It's kind of a slow news day for sports, so let's jump right in. First four started last night. The first game was a battle of the 16 seeds. It was St. Francis of Pennsylvania and Alabama State. Alabama State wins a crazy game, a crazy finish, 70-68. I believe they will advance. Well, obviously, they're going to play one of these one seeds, and might be Auburn. Crazy game. Last couple seconds, it was tied 68. Alabama State threw basically a full court pass. It was tipped a couple of times. Ends up in the hands of one of the Alabama State players who make a layup with .7 to go. Crazy game. What a finish. Alabama State moves on. St. Francis is out. Can't see. I'm sad to see them go. I just can't stand the school, St. Francis. But North Carolina, they annihilate San Diego State in a battle of 11 seeds. 95-68. Big game from RJ Davis, their star player. And obviously, a lot of people thought they should not have made the tournament. I didn't think they should have gotten in either, to be honest. But make a statement there with the win. 95-68, a 27-point win. They will move on to face number 6 Ole Miss in the round of 64. So that was the first four. And to finish off the college basketball here, Indiana's found their new head coach. Of course, they announced a couple months ago that they were be parting ways with Mike Woodson mutually after the season. Been, I think, for 4 years. Hasn't had a lot of success there. Hasn't even won a tournament game. They're going to bring in Darian DeVries, the West Virginia coach, be your next head coach. Prior to being at West Virginia, he was at Drake for 6 seasons. Did a good job there. On his third season there, had him at 26-5, and they made the tournament. He won the Missouri Valley Conference in each of his last 2 seasons, and each time was, of course, got the auto bid to the tournament. So he won. He was in the tournament 3 times in 6 years. And may have had a shot possibly in 2020 if the season didn't get canceled. Overall, they did a good job there. He turned the Drake program that really no one that had ever heard of. You know, they're in the Missouri Valley Conference and turned them into a legit basketball program. Turned them into the best team in the Missouri Valley Conference and turned them into a legit program. This year at West Virginia, 19-13, 10-10 in the conference, came up just short of a tournament, but probably should have gotten in. You know, they're in the Big 12, which is a really good conference. I thought they should have snuck in over maybe like a UNC or a Texas, something like that. Yes, I'm sure they would have gotten overmatched by an SEC team in the first round, maybe even in the first 4, but I thought they should have gotten in. Overall, he's a pretty good coach, and he's now going to be at Indiana coaching the Hoosiers next season. So we're going to talk some standings, and that's really going to be it for today. Like I said, slow news day. But first, Braves signed Craig Kimbrel to a minor league deal, earned $2 million, makes the opening day roster. Kimbrel, don't know what he has left, had a really rough year last year in Baltimore, had a 5.3 ERA, 57 games, 23 saves last year. His whip was 1.35. Kimbrel, to me, the Hall of Famer in 837 career games, 2.59 ERA. He's got 440 career saves. I believe he's the active leader in that. He's a 9-time All-Star. He's a former Rookie of the Year. I don't think he has a World Series championship. He does. No, he does. He won one in 2018 with the Red Sox. He's a World Series champion. To me, he is a Hall of Fame closer and arguably the best reliever of his generation. Of course, he started his career in Atlanta from 2010 to 2014. His first 5 years he pitched in Atlanta and was as dominant as it got in Atlanta. He has had at least 40 saves 5 times in his career. He's had at least 30, I think, looks like 7 times in his career. He, in a full season, he's never had, I think, less than 22 saves in his career. So he's, to me, a Hall of Fame closer, or best of his generation. Again, not sure what he has left. He's going to be 37 years old. He had a really bad year last season. He's not the same player, but the year prior, he was pretty good in Philadelphia in 23, 71 games, 3.26 ERA, 23 saves, and was an all-star. So maybe he can bounce back. We shall see, but Braves brought him in for some depth in their bullpen. But moving on, let's go over the NHL standings as we are winding down in NHL and NBA regular seasons. NHL, both teams have about like between 12 and 14 games left for the most part. Eastern Conference, Washington Capitals still easily lead that conference. They're going to win the East. They have 98 points right now. Second is Carolina with 86 points. Third is Florida with 85. Oh, wait, Carolina, 7 in a row. You can see how bad of a fit Mika Rantanen was over there. Tampa continues to play well. They're in fourth right now. They're at 83. Toronto is also at 83. Same amount of games as Tampa, but Tampa's got one less win, one less loss, and 2 more overtime losses. New Jersey Devils are in sixth. They've been struggling for a while, eating out a little bit, but they have not been playing well. Lately, they're at 80 points right now. In sixth, and seventh is Ottawa with 77. Montreal's last team right now at 73. They've been playing really well. Wins of 7 of their last 9. 9 of the most 10 they've had a point in 9 of the last 10 games. 7 of those have been wins. They have a chance to get into the playoffs. The Rangers right now are a point out. The Islanders are right now actually playing pretty well. They are 3 points out. Columbus is 3 points out, as is Detroit, who's been struggling. Bruins are 4 points out. Of course, they've been really struggling for a while, and they just sold off everything at the deadline. Then from there, Penguins are 6 points out. And the Flyers have been playing really bad, and Buffalo was just god awful. In the Western Conference, you got the Winnipeg Jets, tied for the most amount of points in the entire league, and they are leading the West by 9 points. They have 98 points. In second is the Dallas Stars with 89. Third is Vegas with 86. Colorado's been playing some great hockey. Wins of 8 of the last 10, points in 9 of those 10 games. They are fourth in the West with 85 points. Of course, they added a lot at the trade deadline. They added a bunch of guys. They added Brock Nelson. Of course, they got Martin Nakes and Jack Drury for Rico Randall, and they added Brock Nelson and others at the trade deadline. Edmonton is in fifth with 84. Kings in sixth with 81. Minnesota also has 81, but Kings have 2 games in hand. So while they're in seventh, the last team in is Vancouver with 75, which is a bit surprising considering they traded JT Miller away last month to the Rangers. Blues also have 75, but Vancouver's got a game in hand. Blues have been playing some really good hockey, and they got a chance to sneak in now. Calgary is 2 points out. Utah only 4 points out and playing decent hockey. And from there, it's just huge drop off. Anaheim is really bad. Seattle's had a rough year. Nashville, and what the heck happens here? Then Chicago and San Jose are just beyond awful at hockey. NHL playoff matchups starting to take shape. Atlantic, Tampa, and really tight. Florida only leads Tampa and Toronto by 2 points in the Atlantic Division. And then you go to the Metro. Washington's going to win that. Looks like it's going to be Carolina hosting the Devils in the first round of the NHL playoffs 2 years ago. Carolina played the Devils in the second round, and Carolina won that series. I think it was in 5 games. Might have been 6, so we shall see what happens there. But yeah, it's a really tight race in the Atlantic Division. So it's hard to really predict the playoff. The only one that seems pretty certain is Devils against the Hurricanes. The Rangers right now are 8 points behind the Devils, and both teams have 13 games left for third in the Metro Division. And they're not even in playoff position. They're a point behind Montreal right now, who's in fifth in the Atlantic. And going to the West, again, Winnipeg looks like they're going to win the they should win the West and should definitely win the Central. They're 9 points ahead of Dallas for both the Central and the Western Conference in general. So season we get Dallas against Colorado. So Random would play the Colorado Avalanche, which you can't even write that. But Minnesota is only 4 points out of third in that division. They're only 4 points out of third, and 8 points out, and they're 8 points out of second. So still not sure yet. The Blues might sneak into the playoffs. And then the Pacific is very tight. Vegas leads Edmonton by 2 points in the Pacific. You have the Kings who are only 5 points out themselves. So playoff matchups really still kind of taking shape in the NHL. I hate the way they do. It's too confusing. They need to go back to 1-8, 2-7, 3-6. Just go back to that. I do not like this at all. But NBA standings, and then we're going to close this thing out. Eastern Conference, Cleveland Cavaliers still in first place. They've been playing some incredible basketball. They've had an incredible season, 56-12. They have the best record in tie for the best record in all basketball of the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're the best team in the Eastern Conference, 6.5 games clear. They have clinched at least they've clinched their division. Divisions don't matter as much in basketball, but also they're going to be in the playoffs. The Boston Celtics have also clinched the playoffs as well. They are at 50 and 19 and third, but next at 43 and 24. Um, I think you know where I stand with the next. It's pretty obvious. They're a good team, but they've gotten annihilated by the Cavs, Celtics, and the Thunder. They are 0-7, I think, against those three teams, and they lost on average of 21.2 points. They're not great defensively, and their bench is a little thin. Obviously, the Kimbrel just came out and they kind of told him, "Hey, can you calm it down with the minutes for the starters? You're without Jalen Brunson right now. We look like he's going to be out for 2 weeks. Do not be getting him back around now, but it's going to be looks like at least another couple of weeks, probably the end of March or early April. So Knicks have played 67 again. That gives them 15 games left. They're gonna try to exercise a lot of caution with him because obviously as your star player, you need him healthy for the playoffs. So maybe he could play right now, but if you wait like another 2 weeks, because they're 5 games clear of Indiana for third, and they're 6 games behind Boston for second. The chances are you're pretty much locked into the 3 seed. So you're probably not gonna harm or improve your playoff stock most likely, unless they would have to get on a crazy run, and Boston would have to just basically be in free fall for them to advance to the second seed in the Eastern Conference, which is really just not going to happen. So just hold off the Indiana Pacers for the third seed, get everyone healthy, and then just go from there. Fourth seed is the Indiana Pacers, like I said, 38 and 29. Milwaukee's in fifth. They're 38 and 30, so they're only a half game out of fourth. Detroit Pistons, sixth in the East, 38 and 31, so good for them. Playing right now is Atlanta at the first spot, 33 and 36. Now, I saw Dyson Daniels, he got the most steals in the season, I think, ever. Or most since Chris Paul did, like 15 years ago. I wonder if he'll be in the Defensive Player of the Year competition. He's been really good for the Atlanta Hawks this year. Well, Orlando's at 32 and 37. They've had a bunch of injuries this year, not really playing too well right now. But they're still a game out of the seventh spot. Then you have the Bulls at 29 and 39 as well as the Heat. Heat been falling apart. They're also 8 in a row. They got blown up by the next the other night. Bam out of the game. So we're just teams are just scoring on us right now. Obviously losing Jimmy Butler was a big loss. I thought they would still be somewhat competitive and still hang around in the play-in. They were like in that like 7-8 spot like they've been in the last few years. I thought they would still probably hang on to the 8s because of how bad Chicago has been this year. They were the team that was like in the ninth, battling for that 9-10 spot. The Magic were banged up, but it hasn't really worked out. They're going to end up making the play-in, but they're right now tied for the 9th and 10th spot with the Chicago Bulls, who of course also suck. And that's that. Just the rest of the East is brutal. The Toronto Raptors are 5.5 games out of the play-in. They're really bad. They've had injuries throughout the year. Philadelphia, forget it. The Philadelphia 76ers are 6 games out of the play-in spot. What a disaster. Biggest disappointment in the entire NBA. 23 and 45. That's just, it's hard to believe. In fact, that team might not win 30 games. They were a safe bet. I didn't think they would go on a deep playoff run. Joel Embiid and Paul George, really, like deep playoff run, forget it. But in the regular season, they could have won 50 games, been the third or the fourth seed in the Eastern Conference. The fact that they might not even win 30 games is beyond me. Brooklyn, they just suck. 23 and 46. They're bad. Cam Thomas was just shut down for the year. And Charlotte is beyond bad, and Washington Wizards just forget it. Hornets now have 17 wins, Wizards have 15. Western Conference, you have a Thunder, 56 and 12, tied for the best record in the NBA. Best in the Western Conference by a country mile. 12.5 games clear. They have already clinched the playoff spot. You've got the Houston Rockets are in second. They're tied with Denver. Both teams are 44 and 25. Rockets have been heating up. They've won 7 in a row. They've had a really good year this year. Lakers in fourth with 42 and 25. They're only a game out of second place in Western Conference. Memphis Grizzlies at 42 and 43 and 26. Technically, they're only a game out of second as well, but they have played 2 more games than the Lakers. Then you have Golden State at fifth. Golden State is 15 and 2 since trading for Jimmy Butler. They are the hottest team in the NBA. They've climbed into sixth in the Western Conference, playing really well. They are only 4 games out of second place and 3 games out of fifth in the Western Conference. Playing Minnesota's been playing really good basketball. They're the first playing team right now. They're only a half game out of 6 and 3.5 games out of fourth in the Western Conference. Clippers are in eighth. They've been playing well so far. only a half game out of seventh, only a game out of sixth. And then the Kings, they're a mediocre team, obviously. They fired Mike Brown on the why they did that. They're 4 games out of eighth. And the Mavericks are hanging on for dear life, the other last playing team with their like 7 healthy players, probably like 3 that I've heard of. But I saw Quentin Grimes had 46 points the other night. They traded him away too for Caleb Martin and a pick. Good lord. The Suns are getting out of the play, and what a disaster that is. Dallas and Phoenix are the last playing spot. It was just a freaking tank off. And Portland Trailblazers is even not as bad as I thought. They're only 3 games out of a playing spot. The Spurs are 4 games out. Obviously, a lot of injuries coming down on De'Aaron Fox, both has CCC getting surgery. And the Pelicans and with Jazz are long out. Jazz have actually lost 10 straight games. They are 15-54, only 18 wins for the Pelicans as well. That team is way too talented to only have 18 wins. That's crazy. I think their coach Willie Green's going to get fired. They've had some injuries, but to be only have 18 wins in the third week in March is just insane. But it shows you how much better the Western Conference is than the Eastern Conference. The 11th seed in the West is the Phoenix Suns. They're 32 and 37, so the first team out. They would be tied for the 7. It would be a 3-way tie for the first 3 play-in spots in the Eastern Conference. Hell, the second team out in the Western Conference, the Portland Trailblazers are the 12th best team in the West at 30 and 39. They would be the 9 seed in the East. They would be the third playing team. That's crazy. They're a half game better than Chicago and Miami. The Spurs, with all their injuries, their best player is Devin Vassell right now. He's not bad, but he's a 3. But he's a 3 on a when fully healthy right now, the Spurs are he's a 3 on an average team. They would only be like a half game out of a play-in spot in the Eastern Conference, and they are right now 4 games out of a play-in spot. Just good lord. Also, the Pelicans have 18 wins, and they are eliminated from playoff contention. The Wizards have 15, and they are technically not eliminated from playing contention. They will be in probably about next week, but still, Western Conference is so much better than the Eastern Conference. But for playoff matchups, a lot of us is still taking shape. Looks like the Knicks are going to host the Detroit Pistons. If I hear ESPN one more time so the Pistons could upset the Knicks, it's not going to happen. Good for the Pistons for, taking a step forward finally and starting to put things together. Cade Cunningham has been absolutely incredible. He's a great player. And they were without Giannis for a while. Jalen Duren's been really good this year, but they are not the New York Knicks in the first round of the playoffs. They might push to a 6 game. Maybe I'll give them 6, but that's as far as I'll go. And it looks like but also Pistons are only a game out of 4th. So right now it'll be Indiana hosting Milwaukee again, but that could easily change. Obviously Cleveland and Boston who comes out of the plan. I would think Atlanta's gonna get at least one of those spots. Orlando should get the other spot, but you never know with the experience of Miami, even without Butler. You're gonna get punched in the face in 4, maybe 5 in the first round, but they maybe could sneak out and get the 8 seed. Again, Cleveland will close one them in the first round, but I guess I'd rather be the 8 seed than the 11, I guess. And then the West is even more uncertain. Like right now, season today, it would be Denver hosting Golden State and the Lakers hosting Memphis, but Houston and Golden State are all within 4 games of each other, the 2 through 6. Like in the play-in, Minnesota right now is in the play-in. I think we'll definitely climb out of it. The next team will be either the Clippers or Sacramento. If I had to pick one, probably the Clippers if Kawhi is healthy. I mean, I think the Clippers are going to get. That's going to be an interesting series. If they end up getting the 7th somehow and they play. There are some interesting playoff matchups in the West because if Minnesota plays Houston, I think Minnesota might win that series, even though they're a 7th seed. And I'm taking the Thunder to beat the Clippers. If Kawhi is healthy, the Clippers could probably push them to a 7th game. Maybe I'm still taking OKC. If Kawhi isn't healthy, that's going to be a 5-game series, obviously. Eastern Conference, even in the East, Cleveland and Boston is going to annihilate anybody in the first round. Indiana and Milwaukee, that will be a good series. I think the Knicks would match up well with the Pistons. I don't think that would be a great. I think the Knicks would take care of business pretty easily there. But if we get Knicks Bucks, I'd be a little worried as a Knicks fan. I would much rather play the Detroit Pistons. But that's the NBA standings, what we're looking at in the playoff picture. So I got for you guys today. Till next time, so long. Have a great day. Eastern Conference, even in the East, I mean, Cleveland and Boston is going to annihilate